What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about some drama going on around Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And look, it's the yellow paint, okay? It hits all games, and I just wanted to kind of bring it up. I saw this online, thought it'd be, a fun discussion. Funny enough, I've never talked about it, and you could say, well, Alex, it's something so simple. But you know what? It creates a lot of conversation. It really has come for a lot of franchises, and it really does seem like it divides people, right? Like if this should be in games or if it should not be in games. Now take the controversial side that I don't mind it. Call me like a filthy casual, call me what you will, but look, I think we live in an age, and I mean, I can talk for myself, selfishly or personally, but I think we live in an age of people that just don't have, very long attention spans. And now, there's some people making the case for accessibility, right? That this is actually almost an accessibility thing, that it's a good thing for people that have problems with this, and that's totally cool. The way I look at it, and maybe it's a twisted view, people nowadays can't do anything for more than 5 seconds, and what you actually are seeing game developers bring in is, hey, we have people obviously playtest, like playtesting is a thing, right? But when people playtest these things, if you don't have the yellow paint, sometimes they get lost, they get stuck. And if you, I'd say, put that mindset in the average player, playing nowadays, I could easily see people getting stuck within the first hour and never coming back to the game. The sad truth, and this is actually something that I have brought up on the channel, I find it insane, but it is so true. Most people, do not beat games. You look at any game, even games that are, say, 10, 15-hour story games. There's only single player. It's a story, beginning, middle, end. The stats will tell you, on average, less than half will actually make it to the end of the game. Now, it depends on the game, but sometimes it can be like 20, 30% of people would make it to the end of the game. And those are short, and I would say short, right? Like, say, under 20 hours. Short, nothing but story. Maybe there aren't even side things to do. People won't even finish it. And, okay, why do I bring that up? Well, I think that actually means everything in the modern age, and maybe it was always that way, but what the stats say is people already have a hard time beating games. And this is a game that's like 30, 40, 50, we're talking about 7 Rebirth, right? This is a game specifically that's going to take maybe half of 100 hours, right? Maybe 50 hours. You already are going to have a tough time, on average, the average Joe, getting them to get to the end of this game, okay? In fact, I would probably put a bet that less than 50% make it to the end of the game. It feels different or it looks different when you're online, but that's the thing, right? Online is a bubble. Of course, you're going to be looking at fans and communities, and a lot of these people have actually played the game, right? And they have, gone all the way through. But when you get out there in the world and you look at the actual stats, I really do believe that's going to be the case. So again, I keep bringing this up because this is an issue. To me, like, I'm actually shocked when I, continue to see those kind of stats. And this has been a thing for a long time. I remember first seeing stories about, completion rates back like 5, 6, 7 years ago. And it's been something that's stuck in my head where it's like legendary games like Uncharted and stuff, at least to me, right? It's one of my favorite franchises. Games like that don't have a very high completion rate, which is nuts. Again, you wouldn't know it based off of online. Obviously, people talk about it and people know about it, but that's not everybody. The internet is definitely not everybody, right? Do you need the yellow paint? I guess one thing you can say, I'm okay with it, but I have seen people say, well, maybe you could find like another way of doing it, right? Now, actually, the yellow paint thing, and I think it was Spot, I don't know if it was Digital Foundry or somebody did actually spot what Final Fantasy VII did, like the original Final Fantasy VII, and there's a bunch of games in this era that did the same things, basically the triangles, right? Red and green triangles that point literally to the location. And it would tell you, like, each color would be synchronized with something, right? Now, actually, as I've said, I've never played the original Final Fantasy VII, so I don't know what red means versus what green means, but, I mean, it is, again, it's a classic thing in games, right? Even going back 20, 25, 30 years, actually, that was kind of the universally recognized symbol, were those triangles, right, pointing at locations. So this has been a thing. Now, the yellow paint is very, like, in your face, and I think it upsets people the most. I know it happened with Resident Evil, right? I think Resident Evil 4's remake. When it happens to ladders, I think for that, what upset people a lot was the ladders and, like, destructible, like, barrels, right? When there's the yellow paint, and it's like, well, A ladder, obviously, you're going to be able to climb, right? But I guess in some ways you don't know that for sure. So just to throw it out there. But no, I do understand that, right? You see a ladder, you say, oh, I should be able to climb that. You would maybe at least try it, right? You don't necessarily need yellow paint on the ladder to tell you to climb that ladder, right? I would understand that. Like I said, some people are making the case for accessibility. I think I saw IGN did an entire article on this. And Steve Saylor, he tweeted out, while the yellow paint on climbable ledges wasn't designed with disabled players in mind, it has helped people with low vision or who are cognitively disabled to see at a higher contrast and recognize where they should go. Is this the only solution to the problem? No, but it helps. So, I mean, I guess I agree. I highly doubt accessibility was in the mind. Well, accessibility, I think, comes in different shapes and sizes. That is the thing. This does make it accessible to people that don't want to, I guess, look around. Now, you could say laziness, or you know what I mean? But I mean, in a way, if you stretch accessibility or what you define it as, this does help people stay in your game longer, get through it more, I think, on average, versus if you don't have the yellow paint. So I literally think accessibility-wise, it does make that, case. It does help it. Again, actually, even as he says, is this the only way to do it? I'm sure there could be other ways. Obviously, the yellow stuff is the way that, it's gone. I've actually been playing, and, I reviewed on the channel, Banisher's Ghost of New Eden. Same thing. There is yellow. Actually, I believe that it's a universal symbol. I don't know. Is it because yellow, maybe something for colorblind? Or I don't know, like, what the actual reason is. But even Banishers, all yellow. You see it on edges to jump from one part to the next. You see it on climbable walls so you can go up or down. It is definitely, a thing. So I get it. I mean, it's everywhere, and maybe that, is annoying to people. But honestly, for me, I get lost all the time in games. Even for as many games as I play, and I probably play a good 200 plus games a year. Okay, I think I play on average much, much more than the average person, right? The average gamer. I get lost very easily. So I do not mind, honestly. I'll take it. I know it's in everything. I know maybe it doesn't look great or it stands out, but I think I would actually get lost. And I mean, I do have some sort of patience, maybe not a ton. I do think I would see it through games, if they don't have this. Again, with those stats and just, once you hear it, you can't unhear it. People, I mean, we know this. Social media, YouTube, TikTok, right? People can't pay attention. And I mean, it's not even a joke, actually. Less than 10 seconds, maybe. So to be honest with you, if you can't figure out which wall to climb and say it takes you 2 minutes, I do think at least the newer generation coming up, the newer gamers coming up, you might try it, 2 minutes, you'll never play that game again in your life. I actually do think that's the mentality for, a lot, and the number is probably going to increase as time goes on, right? It's going to get worse. So if yellow paint, all over the place makes it so that people stay in your game longer, I do think it's worth it. It's a negative, but I think overall you take the hit because it's going to keep people in there longer. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure as always you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.